impressive 35 years, this pond was finally due a relight. So if you want to see what it took to get from this to this, then stay tuned. It's a late 80s, early 90s pond, all in ground. They dug out to a good depth, got some absolute cracking koi in there. There's a lovely shower underneath there. The colours are starting to fade slightly on the koi, but they're very old fish, to be honest, so it's going to happen over time. Yeah, unfortunately the lady, she lost her husband a couple of years ago, and she's been maintaining the pond and doing a good job, but we originally got called out because the filter system wasn't keeping up with the pond and it was going murky and green. So you can see now the clarity's pretty good on the pond. We put the new filter system on a few weeks back, so I will show you that and we'll go through what we've put on. So this is the filtration system we installed on this pond. It's the Oase ScreenMatic. Now, I've mentioned on previous videos, each pond and customer situation is unique, so we have to take into account multiple varying factors before we decide what filtration will suit that customer and that pond best. On this one, we couldn't fit anything like a Nexus filter into the back garden because we've got limited access through the customer's garden and next door, so that wasn't an option. And then also we could have looked at things like a drum, but as mentioned, it is an elderly lady and we didn't want to forking out around £4,000 to get a drum filter. So this offers a brilliant solution to that, as it comes with the UV, the filter and the pump. So you can purchase these all as one kit, so you don't have to worry about determining what size pumps or UVs you need. It's all recommended by Oase and it's tried and tested, so you know you're getting the right size pumps and UVs for the size of the filtration unit. So the principle these work on, the water will come in through your ultraviolet light, which is pumped from the pond. The water will then pass over this screen. This will remove the large solids, and this has a motor, so it will turn occasionally. It's got a brush under there, and as I say, the solids will fall off the end, collected in this tray, get rid of them. Absolute lovely. You then, we'll just take that off because this is a crucial part of the kit. This is a bung. We flip that up, and then this all in one nice motion will lift up. You can see here underneath the screen, after the water's passed through it, it will then fall into the sponge section. Now, what you will need to do for the cleaning process is put this bung into, I don't know whether you can see down there where the outlet is, so you bung that up. That will allow the tank to fill up with water. Once the tank is full of water, you will then turn your pump off, grab this tool that comes with the filter, that then slots, you can see the hole there, that coincides with the holes in there. You will then plunge the sponges, and this will squeeze the sponges, releasing any debris out of the sponges. Once you've plunged them a few times, you then have just over the back here, if you can see, there is a handle. You pull that up and that has got a valve at the bottom, a slide valve, so that will release all the dirty water out of the filtration unit. Now, the beauty of these is if for any reason, and it's why we put it on this pond, you don't get round to cleaning the filter, what will happen is the water, rather than filling up in this chamber because the sponges are blocked, it will just bypass over here and it will go out of the waste section. So that just offers peace of mind that you don't need to worry about if you haven't got round to cleaning them when you should do. Obviously, we recommend you try to clean them as much as possible and keep the sponges as clean as you can, because if you've not got water passing through the sponges, then your biological filtration is not going to be working. And also, once the pores in the sponges block up, then obviously rather than the waste getting trapped in the sponges, it will just be going back to the pond, so the pond will start to become murky. But the principle of them is that as the water drops and goes into this chamber, it has to go through the sponges. It will then travel down to the bottom, and there is a plastic channel that runs along there. The plastic channel then goes underneath here into that section, and that will fill up and then return back to your pond. They're a lovely piece of kit. They're very easy to clean. Once you've completed plunging and cleaning it and drained it down, you might need to do it a couple of times if you've left it for a while and it is very soiled. But other than that, once you've completed the clean, you just then remove the blue bung out of there,
Make sure you always close the valve back up because you don't want to drain your pond by mistake. And then it's just a case of putting the screen back down. Make sure this is clipped in and that will lock down, and then turn everything back on and away you go. Quick update, the pond is now draining down. So I'll be jumping in a minute with the sock net in my waders and get the fish out. And then we'll be moving them over to the big old vat set up. Got the air pump on there. So yeah, they'll be housed in here for the next couple of days while we do the work. Fish are now all in the vat, netted over. Put the air pump on, and also you can just see we've cleaned all the sponges, completely cleaned them, and we've actually just put them in the vat, so they will keep the biological bacteria on them to try and keep the water as filtered as we can while the work's going on. It's going to be about 4 days, so they should be absolutely fine in there. So it will just help, and obviously your filter bacteria won't die off. And we'll spin you round the pond. We just started taking up the side slabs. The pond is virtually empty now. There's just a bit of waste to go out in that corner, and then we'll have the interesting part, which we will video, of cutting the liner, and we'll see what's behind it. Right then, the liner's all out now. Just use these plastic cappings to protect the liner from the brickwork. So we'll be removing them because we're going to be using the pond protective underlay, so we can go straight into the brickwork with that before we put the liner in. And you can just see on the side there's loads of silt that's been underneath the liner, which obviously shows that it has been leaking, so it's due a change. I've just been having a chat with the customer, and hats off to her husband. He built this in 1990. It's 3,800 gallon, 1.2 metres deep, and he dug the whole lot by hand. And believe you me, anyone that's dug any pond by hand, that's some serious achievement. Right, the pond's had the final sweep out. That's all ready for the underlay to go in. We've also dug out and compacted an MOT hardcore base, and then the paving will be laid onto a full bed of sand and cement, so that'll be nice and solid once it's all gone off. So we'll start getting the underlay in and get the liner in. So this is the underlay that we use. It's the 250 gram heavy duty underlay, unbelievably robust. If you're cutting it with Stanley blades, you need a few blades because it will blunt them very fast, and this will go underneath the liner to prevent any roots or anything coming through and putting holes in your liner. So it's always a must. You need to put a good quality underlay behind the liner. And then we will be using the Firestone EPDM 1mm liner. This has a 300% elasticity, so if you get a piece that's cut a metre, it will stretch to 3 metres. So very robust, and you should get at least another 25 years, if not more, out of that. That all went in pretty smoothly. We're now filling it with some water, and as you'll see, there'll just be minor creases. So I've bond my waders, and I will be jumping in to start pulling the creases out, and then once we've got a bit of weight in there and it's all started to pack into the corners, we can start sorting out these creases at the side. You always need a bit of weight in there to make sure that you're not stretching the liner. As usual in England, just as you want to start laying the paving in the afternoon, the heavens opened and it's been tipping it down. So unfortunately, we're not going to get any paving down today. We've picked up the slabs, so we're all ready to go in the morning, so we'll have to get going tomorrow on them. At least we've got a foot of water in there, so it's pulled all the liner in, and we'll do the rest of the creases before we start laying and pull them out. Back to it tomorrow. Right, the weather's much better today. We've already got a few slabs down. Now, I just wanted to show you, on a pond, it's very easy for the slabs to delaminate from the mortar, and then they can become loose, especially on these, because we're just butt jointing them, so there's not a pointing joint in between the slabs to lock them in place as well. And obviously the customers, anyone visiting, they want to get close to the edge of the pond, interact with the fish. So to prevent the slabs accidentally coming loose and flipping forward, because we don't want anyone ending up in the pond, we use this Pro Prime slurry, and it's just a case of mixing it up in a bucket with a paddle, some water, then we'll paint this on the slab. We're not going to go right to the front there because obviously that's our overhang that's going over the pond, so we don't need to go right to the front there, but the rest of the slab will give it a generous coating. And then we'll get this laid. On the slabs as well, we nearly always put them just very slightly raking back. That's to make sure that the water will run this way and we don't get loads of dirty water running into the pond if we have heavy rain or anything. And then now that that's slurry primed, that will be locked in there once it's set like glue. It's never going anywhere. Well, it's been an absolute scorcher, but very productive day. Managed to get all the paving down, cut my thumb, and then we've got the rocks underneath back on the waterfall. We managed to cover the piping a bit better as well, so looks nice. Next job, we'll be taking these pavers up. You can just see where they're a bit dipped here. We don't want any trip hazards or anything, so we'll be levelling them off for her. And then the fish are still doing well in the vat, nice and relaxed. You can just see we put the Oase filter pump in, so that's cleared the water up nicely. This is the shower. She said it used to be absolutely cracking, as say. The colours have faded slightly, but still a nice fish. And then, believe it or not, that big fish over there that's plain white used to be a carco. Yeah, it just goes to show age of the fish. They've had some of these for over 30 years. Well, except for being able to see where the vat was sitting, which that'll spring back up in a couple of days, we are now complete on the pond. We managed to get this paving back down earlier. That's all repointed, nice and level, no trip hazards for the customer. She's absolutely over the moon with it. We've also put these poles in and just put some fishing line round. All the fish that are in here, they're actually too big for the heron to take, but she did say that the fish spawn occasionally, so she asked if we could just get hold of something just in case in the future she does have smaller koi in there that the heron shouldn't be able to get round. We are filling currently with the hose still. We're about 8 to 9 inches short on the amount of water that we had left in the vat, so we've put all that back in the pond just so it keeps the fish as calm as possible and they don't notice any difference in water. But we'll get it all filled up. We've had it all up and running, cleaned all the filters, waterfall's all lovely and clean. So we're on to the next one. Well, I wasn't even sure if we'd be doing a video on this pond. To be honest, when we first went there and we installed the filter, I hadn't really spoke to the customer that much, and I made the presumption that the pond was a husband's hobby, his passion, his enjoyment, and that unfortunately, being as he had passed away, she was just keeping the pond running because she couldn't bear to part with the fish in the pond. But I couldn't have been further. That couldn't have been further from the truth. While we've been installing the liner and redoing the pond for her, obviously she's been sharing stories with us, and I came to realise that she got just as much enjoyment out of the pond as her husband did. And the key thing is that they got to do it together. And I see sometimes on social media and in the industry that there's negativity on, you know, comments online and videos and etc. And it doesn't do anyone any favours, and really we should be trying to pull people into the hobby. And it's shown me that from doing this job over the last 3 days and working for this lady, that the enjoyment that she got from just initially with a family of them all contributing, digging the pond, then installing the liner, and then finally going out and picking the fish. And she said the kids pick some fish, and obviously they might not pick the best fish in the pond, but it doesn't really matter. It's about making memories and sharing it and enjoying it with your family, friends, and anyone else that's involved. I think what we can take from this is that this hobby can become a bit of an obsession, and sometimes I think you just need to slow down, take a step back and enjoy it for what it is. But anyway, on a lighter note, it is very close to the BKKS National Koi Show. Obviously we have got a stall there again this year, so if you are attending, please do not hesitate to pop down and see us. Sam will be there doing fish sales, any fish health questions, he's your man to go to. I will also be there. Hopefully I can give you some good advice on pond related stuff, and Paul will also be there. So all three of us will be down there throughout the weekend. Terry might even make an appearance if we're very lucky. So yeah, if you're around and about, then please pop in, say hello, come and see us, and we'll show you what we've got. See you on the next one.